few announcements. As has been said a few times, the next date for First Communions is Saturday, January 10th. So if you wish your child to receive at that time, please contact me before Christmas. The Christmas Mass times are midnight Mass on the 24th, 8:30 a.m. Low Mass on Christmas Day, and 10:45 a.m. Solemn Mass on Christmas Day. For the full schedule, that has been sent out on our newsletter, so if you're on the list for newsletters, then you'll get the schedule on the back of it. But there are also extra schedules set out on the table with the Benedictus books, which you're welcome to take home with you for the schedule for the Octave of Christmas, which is rather different from our usual schedule, although there are some similarities, so just keep that in mind. For additional confessions for Christmas, Tuesday evening we'll have confessions here from 6 to 8 p.m., and then on Wednesday from 9 to 11 a.m. And on Wednesday, in case it is not evident, the first Mass will be at 8 o'clock, and then there will be no Masses until midnight that day, so that we can prepare the chapel properly for the feast. So on Wednesday, only one daily Mass at 8 a.m. Beloved, today we mark the fourth and final Sunday of Advent. For the third week in a row, the Gospel features St. John the Baptist. All the evangelists associate him with Isaiah chapter 40, verse 3, a voice crying in the wilderness. But only St. Luke tells us more what he says. Prepare the way of the Lord, make straight his paths. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low. And the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways plain. And all flesh shall see the salvation of God. The Baptist spoke these words to his contemporaries in order to prepare them for the preaching of Christ. And the Church uses them year after year to prepare us for the feast of his nativity and his second coming. It is worth noting in the prophecy as of Isaiah cited by Luke that there are 2 imperatives and then 5 future statements. We are commanded to prepare a way and make a straight path. And then it mentions 5 things that will happen, it seems, regardless of what we do. The valleys will be filled, the mountains brought low, the crooked ways straightened, the rough ways made smooth. Then all flesh shall see the salvation of God. There is a sense in these verses that if we make an effort to provide a path for the Lord to walk upon, then he will do the rest. The path is prepared in our heart, and from his presence there he begins to work at our sanctification, our being made worthy to enter the halls of heaven. With this in mind, I think we do well to read them in reverse as taking place in our souls. The fathers thought them as taking place in the order that they say, but that in the world. But in our souls, it seems they take in a different way. First of all, the rough ways are made plain. This means that uneven paths are made level, easier to walk upon. And this is when we work on our exterior habits and align them with Christian morality. We may still be angry or lustful or fearful or sad inside, but we don't let those emotions and passions affect our outward actions. We want to appear as good Christians, even if our heart still needs purifying. Second, the crooked ways are made straight. This means our interior dispositions, which are harder to change. We have inclinations to sin and evil thoughts of various types. It is like the synapses in the brain trained over time to prefer one pathway over another. And so they must be trained otherwise by self-control and above all by the power of divine grace. Whereas in some way by will we can stop committing a sinful action exteriorly, we cannot straighten the crooked path in our hearts that we allowed to wind around. We need the help of grace to change that. This relation of exterior and interior is also evident in the analogy with the construction and maintenance of roads that Isaiah makes. We often see crews leveling roads, making the rough ways plain again, but we rarely see crews making crooked roads straight, which requires so much more time and manpower. And this is why God begins with our exterior actions and then moves to the interior paths that led to the external ones. He is determined to straighten every crooked road in our hearts so that we can be at peace and be free to serve him. And then the mountains and hills are brought low. In the divine program, roads are not built into the side of a mountain or hill as we do. Instead, these elevations are leveled. and this represents pride. Once the Lord has helped us to correct our exterior actions and begun to heal the interior movements, we can get to work on our pride. In fact, in patiently waiting for the interior crooked ways to be made straight, we have grown considerably in humility. But he wants to chop down the whole mountain and lay it low, knowing that any hill of pride, however small, will undermine our progress. This leveling will likely take place through some unexpected misfortune or trial which strikes deeply into our heart and makes it vulnerable. And when that trial or trials is over, then the soul will know that it is nothing without God, and that is true knowledge. Pride does not correspond to reality, thinking something of ourselves when we are nothing. But when pride is picked up and thrown into a sea, then true knowledge of self is given. And lastly, every valley shall be filled. If the idea of leveling a mountain seems outrageous for making a road, what about filling a valley? Imagine the task of filling just one valley in this area where they are so copious and expansive. A bridge would make more sense. But like the mountain leveled rather than chiseled into, the valley must be filled. The heart that has suffered to live for God should be filled to the brim, not just driven over. And notice that the tasks that God undertakes in our souls increase in intensity and magnitude until he leaves nothing undone. As a good heart has been purified by grace, it is also increased in size and become more capable of receiving God. The heart has been stretched in order to be filled, enlarged over time to be made worthy of what eye has not seen nor ear heard. The humble soul was willing to be a valley, and now it is rewarded. Again, I draw your attention to the way it is phrased in the gospel. These things will take place, and then all flesh shall see the salvation of God. If we have let the Lord work in us and submitted to his providence, then we will either leave this life to be filled with glory in heaven immediately, or we will spend time in purgatory while the mountain or hill of pride is brought low. Then we will look upon the salvation of Christ, salvation of God, which is Jesus Christ our Lord. Keep in mind also that although the biblical language speaks of making a smooth, level, straight road, it does not make us less human, but more so. If someone were to take a road around here, a delightful one that follows the contours of a landscape, level and straighten it, then he might be criticized for that. The road would be safer, but much duller to drive upon. But in us, a straight, level road is not less beautiful, but more so. Sin is what makes us dull and ugly, where grace and virtue make us much more interesting. And this is proven by the attractiveness of the saints even to non-believers. When Adam and Eve sinned, we lost the intimacy that we should have had with God. When he lives in us not only by grace but also by palpable presence, then we regain that intimacy and it floods the soul with joy. And this is made possible by the road, which allows the Lord to travel easily to the very depth of our heart. St. Irenaeus famously said that the glory of God is man fully alive. And then he continued, if a man perseveres in God's love and in obedience and gratitude to him, he will receive greater glory. He will be a glory which will grow ever brighter until he takes on the likeness of the one who died for him. As we draw ever nearer to the Feast of the Nativity, let us think on these things, realize how much the Lord has done in us, and then hope above all for the promise of our valley being filled. Right now, the valley of the heart fills up a bit here and there, now and again, but never to the brim. But if we persevere, that valley will be filled. May the Mother of God help us never to forget these promises and to suffer gladly to obtain them.